What's up, y'all? I'm back with the last video of the day, and I'm talking about the new fucking Phish album. I don't get to talk about Phish a lot on this channel, and motherfucker, I am a major fucking fan of these guys, and I like all their albums. Some of them a little less than others, but it's weird, and I'll get into that. They basically just out of nowhere dropped their new album, Sigma Oasis. And it was, I was just scrolling through fucking Facebook and it's like, boom, Phish listening party, new album. I'm like, oh shit. So I only listened to the first track, Sigma Oasis, and fucking digging it, right? And I'm like, oh man, you know, and it's like, oh, the next day the album's gonna be for, or by that weekend, the album would be basically released. And as of right now, they said they weren't gonna release the album like this, so I'm sure the album was gonna come out later sometime, but with all this fucking goddamn corona shit going on, you know, they said, fuck it, let's, you know, give people some music. And so right now there's not a CD release or a vinyl release, and I'm hoping to get a CD release soon because I want the fucking CD, man. I wanted to sit with my other Phish buddies. And, you know, so, you know, I dropped $9 on the MP3 version just because I want to fucking hear the new Phish. And man, is it fucking good. I've always kind of said, like, after Story of the Ghost, for me, I kind of lose. I always say I kind of don't get into the albums after that one too much. Like Farmhouse, Round Room, Undermined, and in their little comeback album, Joy. But then when Fuego came around, I was fucking loving Fuego. And then Big Boat, I liked that even more than Fuego. And this, kind of like it better than both of those albums. But, you know, the thing is there's not necessarily a Phish album I dislike. Fucking Billy Breathes is one of the only ones that maybe Billy Breathes and Farmhouse. I don't know, I gotta listen to those again. But Billy Breathes, like, the only thing I ever remember on it is Free, the opening track, which is phenomenal. And then Round Room, there's a lot of stuff I remember that I really like on there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of song titles, so I'm just going to pull these fucking albums out. I pull these bitches out here. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Round Room. Yeah, Pebbles and Marbles is fantastic. Mexican Cousin, I love the shit out of that. 46 Days. You know, I really like Round Room, and you know, it's one of the things. Some Phish albums, it falls into that category. I forget how much I like it until I play it, and like with Undermined, which at the time would have been their final album because they broke up after this, but Undermined is great. There's a lot of great shit on Undermined. But yeah, they broke up, and then they came back with Joy, and Joy is a damn good fucking comeback album. It's one that I'm like, I always forget how much I like it, so I'm playing it. It's weird, but you know, I think no Phish albums are as phenomenal as those early albums like Junta, A Picture of Nectar, the fuck is it called? Farm Boy, goddamn, even Rift and Hoist. Fucking love those albums, like start to finish. But then Billy Breathes, like I said, I always forget how much I like it. I only ever remember Free, and then Farmhouse. Right now, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you a single thing about Farmhouse. I mean, you know, Phish is one. I love jam bands, and Phish especially are ones that there's a lot more talent involved. Uh, I guess theory-wise, like music theory-wise, because it's not mindless jamming. There's always that joke. There's always that joke of, I don't want to hear guitar solos for fucking 30 minutes. Like, yeah, they that was a joke on that High Fidelity series. And then when Rob is talking to that guy and he mentions that he likes Phish and she said something about 20-minute guitar solos. Now, it's not all 20-minute guitar solos, and that kind of shit is there, but everyone is doing cool shit. I mean, And then another thing that people say about Phish is a lot of people, and they say this for a lot of jam bands, especially like with Grateful Dead and stuff, that their albums are never good as their live stuff. Now, I sort of disagree with that because, I mean, the live stuff is great, but damn it, they're great. They're good songwriters too. I like their studio albums. I'm one of the few people who would be like, oh man, I love the studio albums. But especially when they toned down the craziness around the time Hoist came around. Things got a little less crazy. But man, Hoist has some phenomenal fucking tracks on there, man. When they tone it down and, they're sort of just really good songs. I do miss the more crazy arrangements from the stuff from like Junta and Farm Boy. And one thing they don't really fuck around with, but every time that Phish fucks around with it, I love it, is when they fuck with bluegrass or silly country music, like on Farm Boy. They have the track. I gotta look at this. My Sweet One. My Sweet One is fucking awesome. Son of a Mule on Hoist is one of my favorite goddamn country jams they do. And I think Bela Fleck is on that song too. And then, with a Picture of Nectar, it has the song, shit, they're not listed on the back, son of a bitch. Poor Heart. Poor Heart's really fun. I like it when they do country things, country stuff, because they have a lot of fun with it. They get real silly. I like it when Phish gets silly and weird, which, kind of goes away after Hoist. And, you get a little bit of silliness here and there, but, for the most part, it's just some good-ass rock and roll. Story of the Ghost. I fucking love Story of the Ghost. It's probably their most funky album, but then the song Gaiuti, holy fuck, is that phenomenal. And Joy I like a lot, so I like all their albums pretty much. But like I said, I gotta turn Farmhouse on again. I might just have to do a massive listen, just get all the Phish out of my system for a while. But the new album, the reason I like it so much more than Fuego and Big Boat is maybe because Bob Ezrin isn't on this one. And, I'm not going to lie, I like Bob Ezrin's production on those two albums. But I think with them, did they work with a producer on here? I don't really have a clue. I think they might have produced it themselves. Yeah, them and some guy named Vince Powell. Really, Phish is allowed to just do Phish on Sigma Oasis, which is fucking great. The album, and I've seen a lot of people say this, that this album captures their live sound really well. Their spontaneity is there as well, and I can definitely see what they're talking about. These songs jam. These songs start off one way and end another, or start off one way, go crazy in the middle, and then end the way it began. This is some of the, you know, I don't know lyric-wise, you know, a lot of people say, you know, their songs, they have silly lyrics. You know, Tom Marshall, who writes their lyrics, you know, who knows what that guy's thinking. And I don't know how many lyrics that Trey himself actually writes, but the lyric-wise, you know, it's just things and stuff, words and things. But I mean, you know, the meanings behind some of them, you know, the Sigma Oasis, you know, that line on Sigma Oasis, take off your mask, or your fear is an illusion, take off your mask, and you know, that is pretty topical right now, because everywhere you go, you know, people look like this right now. But these songs are actually, I think, a thing that really, a major strong point on this album is the fact that these songs are old. They've been playing these songs live for, you know, almost 10 years in some instances. Hell, I think the track Mercury or Steam, one of them was recorded for Big Boat, but Bob Ezrin said no. Like, come on, Bob. But yeah, man, fuck. Sigma Oasis is a great fucking groovy track, and then Leaves is really good. Everything's Right, track 3. That's when you know you're in for a different kind of Phish studio album. Everything's Right starts off with your cool kind of funky Phish shit. But then halfway through, the song's 7 minutes long, halfway through, it just turns into a jam piece. Crazy fucking just noise, jamming, a lot of cool keyboard shit, and you get lost in the jam, you know, like a live Phish track. You get lost in the fucking jam. And they do that on their other albums, you know. There's Pebbles and Marbles does that, you know. All the early shit does stuff similar to that. Time Turns Elastic does that. So they've never moved away from it, but this album, I think, has the most songs as a whole that does that. And I think the fact that they've been playing these songs live for so many years now kind of helps. Because they already know, like, the songs are, you know, they feel lived in, and they feel, you know, they feel used, they feel ready, as opposed to, we're just going to go in the studio, write some crap really fast, and then take them on the road. Like, these are songs they've had on the road for a long time that we're finally now getting studio versions of. And damn, the studio versions are fantastic. But yeah, so then Mercury comes in. Mercury is fucking great. Another thing I like about this album is the fact that they use orchestral sections, especially on Leaves, and I believe Shade does it, Life Beyond a Dream. Lots of cool fucking orchestral sections. And then Shade is one where I could be like, oh, this is just a Phish ballad song, you know, but damn, it's a good Phish ballad song. It's not boring. There's nothing boring on this album. This album is a little over an hour long. Let me see here. It is 66 minutes. And you don't feel that hour. It's a real quick feeling hour. And that's a good fucking thing. You know, you don't feel like nothing on here is a slog. Even when you get to some of the longer tracks. I mean, this album has some of their longest tracks in a long fucking time. Or at least, as for one album, to have this many long tracks, that's fairly rare too. Especially with, you know, albums from Hoist on up, you know. I mean, there's nothing. The shortest track is Evening Song, which is only like 3:20. But after that, it's 4:25 with Shade. But then there's 5, 7, 6-minute tracks, and you've got 2 massive tracks, which a lot of their albums have, you know, especially the newer stuff, might have 1 track that hits 10 minutes or more. But this one, you get Everything's Right, and then the final track, Thread, which is fantastic. There's a lot of cool ass arrangements in there, and it even gets pretty heavy for like a Phish track. And damn, like, just really fucking good. That one has some of the better John Fishman drums. Like, he's really fucking showing off his skills on that track. And another thing I like is Page McConnell, man. His keyboards and pianos on this album sound amazing. And he uses a lot of the 70s synth sounds. Like, I swear some of these synths just totally take me to some Emerson, Lake and Palmer kind of synth sounds. And I'm like, wow, that's cool, you know, like, that's like a fucking ELP kind of thing, you know, that's pretty rad. Like, there's some cool fucking shit on this album, and highly fucking recommend this. It's, you know, I said Fuego was the best Phish album in years. I said Big Boat was the best Phish album in years. And both of those albums are fun, but I mean, in a way, like, this is probably the best Phish album to me, probably since Story of the Ghost. As far as like an album that has a lot more interesting stuff and jammy stuff as opposed to just songy songs. And this album, man, they really fucking did their thing. Fucking, like, it's no Junta, it's no fucking Farm Boy, but we're 30 years away from that shit, man. And I do wish that we would get some more stuff similar to that. Hell, release the Gamehenge album, man. They got so much shit that's unreleased that I'm like, man, release it. You know, the closest to Gamehenge we can get is that Live 95, Madison Square Garden. I know a lot of the Gamehenge stuff is on there. There's also Gamehenge stuff on Junta and Farm Boy. But yeah, release it as a whole, man. Release that album as a whole. You know, I think we're lucky that we got the white tape with an official CD release. But yeah, Sigma Oasis is definitely one of my favorite albums of the year so far. And it's, every time I've turned it on, I feel it. There's something about Phish's music that, man, I just feel that shit. And, you know, that goes with a lot of jam bands, you know. I like a lot of early Grateful Dead. I fucking love some goddamn Allman Brothers. Fucking love that shit. Funny thing about Allman Brothers is, you know, a lot of people say, oh, jam bands are never as good as their live stuff. But I've got some live Allman Brothers and some studio Allman Brothers. And I kind of like the studio Allman Brothers better. Like, the live Allman Brothers almost sounds like a totally different band. Like, that shit is good, you know, don't get me wrong, but like that guitar sound, there's a lead guitar sound in Allman Brothers that I love that is not on the live stuff. The vocals sound different, you know, it's weird, it's really weird. You know, I like some Dave Matthews, I fucking love goddamn Blues Traveler, like I'm all into that, especially like the 90s sort of jam band revival scene, you know, I'm really into that shit. String Cheese is cool, Widespread Panic is cool. You know, fucking, I dig all that shit. You know, I dig some Hootie. You know, I'm not like, oh man, I gotta turn on this Hootie album, but I can turn some of their shit on. Hootie is one of those jam bands that's like, you know, it's kind of like where, you know, yeah, let's say you go to a jam festival. You're there to see the big guys. You're there to see Phish. You're there to see maybe Blues Traveler. You know, Hootie might be on the bill. That's just bonus, you know. You're not there to see Hootie. You're there to see the bigger names, but seeing Hootie is a bonus. But I mean, I dig that whole sort of moment in time where the jam band thing came back really big. And hell, maybe it never left. I mean, Grateful Dead was still a massive force up till Garcia died. Um, but damn, man, the crazy shit on this album, man. Just Steam is cool. Steam's got a lot of cool noise. And then Paige McConnell sings a little bit on Leaves. They kind of I think he starts the song with his vocals. Paige has a weird voice. You know Trey's voice. Paige has his own fucking unique voice in Phish, and it's always fun hearing him come in on a track. Hell, he had a couple tracks on Big Boat. Even Mike Gordon had a song or two on Big Boat. So it's refreshing to hear somebody other than Trey sing on some tracks too. But yeah, from start to finish, man, this album is fucking smooth. It sounds great. It allows you to get lost in the jams. And allows you to appreciate the music. And I don't know, man. This is a fucking full-on 10 of an album for me. Start to finish, I'm in it. I'm feeling it. I even like the soulful choir vocals on Life Beyond a Dream. And I'll never forget, years ago, I saw an article, I can't remember what magazine it was in, but it was like a checkbox of things that if you ever did this in your songs, you're a bad songwriter. If you ever wrote a song about drugs, you're a bad songwriter. If you ever wrote a song about being on drugs, you're a bad songwriter. If you've ever used choir vocals, you're a bad songwriter. I'm like, but I mean, I like all this shit. So, who cares? I guess I like bad songwriting. But, I mean, I dig that shit. I don't know. It just kind of helps it. Now, if you're doing it on the whole album, get that shit out of here. It's fine, in little bits here and there. So it works. It works on this album. I'm not like, oh, they're using a choir thing again. But no, it's fucking totally cool. Highly recommend checking this out. Sadly, as I said, there is no CD release yet. And, the other Fishes are lonely. The other Fishes are lonely. We need another one in that tank. We need another one in that tank. But I'll buy it. I'll give Phish extra money when they release a CD version. I don't mind dropping money on the album twice. I mean, shit. What did you guys think? Do you even like Phish? I never get to talk about Phish on here a lot. Especially I want to do a Phish retrospective for their studio albums so bad. But to make Zach and Joss listen to God, how many studio albums do these guys have? I mean, it's a lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, it would be 15. I don't know why they have the Sick-It disc listed as a studio album when it's just sort of bits left off of from Story of the Ghost. I mean, some of these are only about a minute, 2 minutes long. But, hell, it's one I haven't even heard. I don't own Sick-It disc. But Zach does, weirdly enough. But, let me know what you guys think about the new Phish album. Fucking loving it. I've been jamming this motherfucker at least a couple times a week amongst all the other shit that I've been listening to. And, fuck. Y'all have a good day.